Do you want to make a crumb cake? We're going to make a crumb cake today. We're going to make a New Jersey style crumb cake. New Jersey versus New York. The New York style crumb cakes are more cake and a very, very light dusting of crumbs, I would call it. The New Jersey crumb cakes are less cake and a whole giant pile of crumbs. So I have a recipe here. This is the basic recipe that I found. I'm going to show it to you so you can pause the video and look at it. This is the one that I found online. However, we are going to make some modifications. I'm not making the cake. I'm actually going to use a plain box cake. The crumble topping, we're going to actually double this recipe. Take a look at that. And the cake that I am using, let me just get this out of the way, is the Pillsbury yellow cake. And the reason why I picked this one is because there are a couple of substitutions on the back that I used. I used the applesauce instead of the oil, and I used the Greek yogurt instead of the eggs. And the good thing about making this cake mix is that there's no raw eggs in the batter. So when you're all done, you can go ahead and lick that bowl, and you know I did it. So we don't need this anymore. So the cake is already made. I have it sitting right here. I already made the crumb mixture. I didn't want to make a video of just measuring ingredients. You guys know how to measure. What I did was I'm using whole wheat flour for the 5 cups of flour. I found it in a Walmart, a giant bag for like $1.42. I'm using dark brown sugar instead of light brown. And I'm actually using half of the Splenda. So I'm doing 1 cup of Splenda blend and 1 cup of dark brown sugar. Now this on the back, it's got a conversion chart. It says that if you want to use a cup of brown sugar, you should be using a half a cup of the Splenda. I'm not doing that. I just used 1 cup and 1 cup. But if you want to go ahead and follow the directions, you can absolutely do that. So the only thing we have left to do here is to put the butter in, mix it up, and then put it on top of the crumb cake. Now another reason why I did this, I know that you guys know how to measure ingredients, but YouTube also does not like videos that run like over 30 minutes. They can take like hours to upload, like hours and hours. So we're gonna put in 4 sticks of butter. 2 sticks of butter equals 1 cup. I did warm this up in the microwave. I know that a lot of cooks out there kind of poo-poo that idea of heating up butter in a microwave, but too bad. This is what we're doing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put these in. This is a lot of butter. And I'm not going to use a spoon, I'm just going to use my hands. Make sure you have a big enough bowl. This is a giant bowl that my husband uses for cooking when he cooks. Just going to get this out of the way. He bakes a lot more than I do. So he's got like all kinds of mixing bowls. So we're just going to take our 2 hands and just start kneading this together until we start seeing crumbs forming. Now it's going to stick all over your hands. But we just want to get this, and you'll start to see like the crumbs will start forming eventually once this butter gets incorporated. And I will show you close up what it looks like. It kind of looks pretty light on your computer. It takes a few minutes. So this is a very, very simple crumb cake recipe, and I'm telling you, if I can do this, you guys can definitely do this, because I am no baker. I'm even less of a cook. Luke does all the cooking in our house. I do like to bake. I like to bake cakes, box cakes, of course. So this, for me, is pretty adventurous, to make a crumb cake. So I'm just gonna, and you can see, like I'll show you in a minute. You want to get like a lot of these little dark pieces, oops, So you want to like break those apart just so that everything is nice and incorporated. I'm just going to break these all. So the reason why I'm making crumb cakes is I lived in New Jersey pretty much my whole life up until sometime in my 30s, I guess. And when I moved up to New England, there are no crumb cakes up here. And the ones that do have, the places that do have crumb cakes, I find they make the New York style crumb cakes. But I'm used to a lot of crumbs, which is why I doubled this recipe. So you can see, the crumbs are like really nice and forming. So you can see some of like these nice big pieces. We're just gonna put them right on our cake. I just wanna get them, break up these little pieces that are in here. It takes a few minutes. This is a good job for kids maybe, because you don't need like any special equipment. You don't need a mixer, you don't need a whisk or anything. You just have them like squish this together. And this is perfectly safe to eat if they put a piece in their mouth. There's no eggs in here. There's no, raw ingredients or anything. So we're gonna go, all right, that looks really good. This is my first time trying it with wheat flour. I'm trying to not eat so much processed white flour or bread. But this looks pretty good. But if you want to use regular AP flour, and some people actually use cake flour for the crumbs, but I'm not gonna do that. So I think this looks as good as it's gonna look. So what I'm gonna do now, let me just wash it. I'm gonna bring my cake over here. Let me just do a little switcheroo. This is our box cake. I will tell you, using the yogurt and the applesauce, it made it really much more creamier. I noticed that when I was mixing it, it's not as watery as if you use oil and eggs. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna continue to use my hands here. And we're gonna just start sprinkling this now. Let me get this thing in the picture for you. There we go. So the last crumb cake that I made, I noticed that the cake was actually coming through the crumbs, especially in the corners. So with this one, I'm gonna pay a lot of attention to the edges and the corners. It's a really big piece. And this really doesn't take all that, like the whole recipe, the longest thing for me is, measuring out everything. But this part's kind of fun. Making sure you get the edges. Oh, can't wait to eat this. I love crumb cake. It is my favorite dessert. And when I was in New Jersey, I would go to the same stores, once a week and just get like a bunch of them to just last me the week, and they're a nice little snack to have, mid-morning. But then I moved to New England and it's just not a thing up here. You get like a ton of whoopie pies, which I don't like. They have Dunkin' Donuts, which I don't eat. This is a crap load of crumbs. And if you don't want this many crumbs, you can absolutely just use the straight recipe and not double everything. If you don't want to, there goes my Splenda. Alright, getting down to the bottom here. Alright, that looks really, really good. So this is going to be ready to go into the oven. I'm just going to use the recipe for the cake and just add an extra minute or two. The last crumb cake that I made, I noticed that it was a little bit raw in the middle, so I'm going to give it an extra couple of minutes. So this is a 13 by 9 inch pan. The recommended time is 34 to 38 minutes, so I'm just going to leave it in for an even 40 and see if that makes any difference. But this is all ready to go, and let me show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. This is the last one that I made. So the good thing about this crumb cake is you're going to let it rest. You're going to let it cool off completely. You can slice it, and you can wrap it in plastic wrap like I did. Wrap up the slices and put them in a freezer bag, and you can freeze them, and they freeze very well. You only need like a couple hours. Like this one I took out this morning. So this is pretty much what it's going to look like when it comes out. Look at all those delicious crumbs, baby. This is crumb cake. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is New Jersey style crumb cake. Feel free to leave a comment below, like the video, subscribe if you like. I might make a couple more baking videos, who knows. But that's it for now. I'm going to put this guy in the oven, and it's going to come out, and it's going to be fantastic. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.